Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're mixing it up a little and we're going to read some Reddit posts. On this subreddit it's r/EntitledParents. So without further ado, let's get into it. Entitled mum demands access to my pool. Originally posted this on r/choosingbeggars and was advised that people would probably like it here as well. So have a seat and share in my misery. Hilarity, fury. CB stands for choosing beggar, naturally. I had this rather amazing run-in with a choosing beggar last week, and boy was it entertaining/infuriating. I'm renting a one-story house with a private swimming pool with my wife. The house is part of a small neighbourhood of 6 houses in total, 2 of which are slightly bigger than the others and have a private pool each. Those 2 are a fair bit more expensive for obvious reasons. Last week, someone knocks on the door and I go to open it. Outside is a smiling woman with 2 kids. CB. Hello, I'm Fuckface from next door. We thought we'd use the pool. Me, confused as hell, a bit stunned. Oh, you did? Did you? I now also notice that they're all carrying towels and have swimming suits on. Me. I don't really like lending it out, I'm afraid. So I think I'll have to say no. CB. Oh, but the rent gives me access to the pool when I want, said in a very smug way as if she's calling me an idiot. Me. You're not paying the rent for my house, and I know owner doesn't include use of the pool in the contract. I know this because he's a close friend of my wife and I happen to be the one who wrote the contract, as well as having translated the guy's ads for Facebook and such. CB. Well, it's in the lease, so you don't really have any choice, do you? At this point, I just asked my wife to call up the owner, and he confirms that he hasn't said anything about her being allowed to use the pool, and that the contract doesn't mention it. I tell her this, but since she has kids, I tell her that I'll allow her to come over to use the pool perhaps once a month, as long as she gives me 1 week's notice or so. This is not good enough for Fuckface, who demands immediate access to the pool as well as future use whenever she feels like it. This of course results in me withdrawing my kind offer, and her stomping away screaming about getting kicked out. Later, the owner shows up, having heard her screaming through the phone, and warns her sternly that she will be kicked out if she makes any more trouble. I don't think she'll be staying here for long. People like this get on my nerves, okay? Thinking they can just get something for free when it wasn't even mentioned in the first place? It's just a bit scummy if you ask me. Entitled mum thinks she can take my therapy appointment. For context, I'm 21 years old and have been going to this therapist since I was 16. I have severe depression, PTSD from abuse in my past, and an anxiety disorder and borderline personality disorder. Okay, so, this happened last week. I walked in and sat down at one of the 2 couches. Since a woman, EM for entitled mother, and her kid, MK for mortified kid, were already sitting on the other couch. My therapist, called Cupcake for privacy, came in and told me it was time for my appointment. The following conversation ensued. M is me, C is Cupcake, my therapist. C. Alright, just a little shit, let's go back. EM. But we were here first. C. And your appointment is at 12 o'clock. Jasper's little shit is at 11. EM. That's not fair. Switch appointments with me. Me. No, I need this appointment. EM. What you have can't possibly be worse than what my kid has. MK. Mum, stop. EM. Shush, MK. Me. I'm done talking to you. EM. No, switch appointments with my kid now. Me. No. I walked back with my therapist as this woman yelled nasty things at me. It's the first time I've stood up for myself in a while, which was hard since I was panicking at the confrontation. In a way, I can see where EM is coming from, but it's also a bit scummy because you've made an appointment, and if you showed up an hour before your appointment, and the person's appointment is before yours and they come in for theirs, you can't just go, oh, I'm here an hour early, can I have your appointment because my son will have something worse than you, when you don't even know what the other person has. So just shut up and just get on with your life, and next time don't arrive so early. EP lies about having my first class ticket. Heads up, I'm on mobile. This is from the summer of 2018. My father travelled for business for 15 years or so, and he had ranked up an insane amount of miles, in the high 100,000s. But early in 2018, he decided to quit and start his own business, and being the amazing dad he is, decided to give me all his miles for my birthday. He set the standard pretty high for birthday presents. XZ. Anyway, I decided to visit my grandparents in rural India. So I booked a first class ticket through Lufthansa. Sorry if I mispronounced that. It would be my first time flying first class, and I was pretty giddy. This is where it gets interesting. EP, entitled parent. C is child M. Well, C is child, M is me, S is steward. A few weeks later, at the gate waiting to board, and I noticed a mother, EP, and her child, C, around 12 or 13, also waiting for the same flight. The stewards finally announced that it's time to board, and like the crazy animals we are, all of us rush to the gate. The stewards get pissed and tells everyone to sit back down, and then announce that they are only letting in first class and parent guardians with children board first. I go and wait in line and notice that EP and EC are standing beside me in the other line. Side note for the next part, I don't look very old. In fact, I have a baby face. I easily look 6 or 7 years younger than I really am. The line was moving slowly because there was an issue with the scanner. EP looks at me and starts talking. EP, why are you in the first class line? Me, because I'm in first class. Why else? EP, you must be in the wrong line. You see, first class is not for people like you. You better sit down and wait to be boarded. Me, I paid to be in first class. EP, that's impossible. Look at you. At this point, I arrived at the counter and they scanned my ticket. Steward, welcome Mr. XXXXX. Go through this corridor and the attendee for your deck will escort you to your seat. Just hearing that made me feel excited. Lol. EP now realizing my ticket was legit. EP, he stole it. That was my ticket and he took it from my bag. Just look at him. Does he look like he bought it? Me and the steward look at each other in disbelief. We just had this look. Is she serious? The child clearly hated what was happening and kept telling his mum to stop. See, can you please stop? Everyone's looking. And he's crying. EP, I'm telling you, he took it, and look, he's made my kid cry. The whole situation was just so sad. I felt bad for the kid having a parent like that. I continued on my way and enjoyed the flight. I was told that they were never let on board because she had apparently called me some racial slurs. TLDR, EP didn't believe me that I was in first class and demanded that I wait to board my economy class. After realising my ticket was real, she claimed that the ticket was hers and accused me of stealing it. She was denied boarding for calling me racial slurs. What a... I'm going to have to censor that word, but you know what I'm saying. Just seeing that a kid who looks younger than what they really are, and they've got a first class ticket and you don't believe them, and then realising that they've got one, and you just go out your way to pretend that they stole it. I can tell this parent doesn't realise security cameras exist, and I also believe that witnesses don't exist. What an idiot for actually trying to pull this off. I'm glad my parents aren't like that. Mum blows up at me for scaring her child. Okay, so before I start the story, some context is needed. Some important information you should know about me for the story. I have long hair, it goes down to my lower back. I am a boy. I have a boyfriend named Matt. I work at a convenience store. It's Turkey Hill for any other Pennsylvanians reading. I can't grow facial hair, have a high-pitched girl voice, and I'm not manly in the slightest, so I'm called a girl all the time. Which is fine, because that's what I'm going for here. Cast. EM, entitled mother. I see innocent child. Duh. Alright, this story happened about a couple of weeks ago. I was working the night shift at my store because it was the weekend and I'm a broke college student. It was about 9 PM when this whale and her sweet child come into the store. They buy drinks and apple fritters and come to the counter. I'm in the process of ringing them up, and her boy, who looks between 10 or 13, sees a picture I have of me and my boyfriend Matt. This conversation then followed. I sees picture of my boyfriend. Is this your boyfriend? Me. Why yes he is. His name is Matt. EM stares at my name tag curiously for a bit. Dustin doesn't sound like a very womanly name. She then does a stupid, nasally chuckle and try to make it seem like she's joking. Me, well, I'm actually a boy. EM, eyes bulge open and looks in awe and shock. Here it comes, I thought. EM, you dare try and corrupt my child into living your sinful homosexual ways? She covered her kid's eye with her sausage fingers. Because of you and your propaganda picture, he finds you and your devilish ways to be somewhat intriguing. I see. Mum, please stop. EM turns to her son. You better not be trying to defend this behaviour. People like them deserve to be in hell. They definitely don't deserve to be giving us our goods. This humpback whale then takes their drinks and fritters and throws them on the ground, demanding a refund, while her child is silently crying in embarrassment. Of course, I'm white as a ghost. I've never been so scared at all in my life. I thought that she was going to climb in the booth with me and strangle me. I finally opened my mouth. Me, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's nothing I did that requires me to give you a refund. EM, I tell you what you did. You scared my child and have destroyed his youth. Because of you, he's going to think that this is all okay and that people like you are okay. She goes on for a few minutes and her son and I just stand quietly in shock. Eventually, she is forced out of the store and her son, while still shouting at me, her son says that he needs to pee and the manager says he can. He goes pee and comes back and stops at the counter. I have just recovered from what happened and am glad to see him again. I'll never forget what he said. I see. I'm sorry. My mum doesn't like gay people. I'm not gay, but I know that God loves everyone. Even you. I blushed, paid for an apple fritter and gave it to him. I told him to hide it from his mum. He smiled and tucked it in his pocket. I asked him what his name was and then he left. Charlie, if you're reading this, thank you. Thank you so much. You made my night and whole weekend spectacular. Matt says he loves you. Edit. Okay, I said that I was at work. I said that I work at a convenience store. I actually don't work there anymore. Sorry. Wow. See, this actually gets to me as well, because me, myself, I am bisexual. So if people come up to me saying, how dare you hate guys and all that shit, that's wrong, the Bible says no. I'd be like, well, what the hell, man? Let a man love what he wants. If I want to love a guy, let me love a guy. If I want to love a girl, let me love a girl. Who cares? Love is love. Get on with your fucking life and stop being such a fucking homo hater. You know, one of them. Entitled Brat's parents tried to take my 3DS because her crotch goblin deserves it more than me. First post here, and it's a long one, so sit back. This happened when I was 15, and I have a horrible memory due to my ADD, so some exact details might not be exact. Context. I am an avid Mega Man fan, like avid. I used to carry my big bulky 3DS I was gifted by my dad, whom I have a deep connection with, and with my favourite game, Mega Man Zero Collection, in tow. If there was any form of waiting had to be done, you bet your top dollar I whipped that thing out and start a Mega Man marathon. With that out of the way, here's the actual story. I was sitting in my therapist's office waiting room, waiting for my brother to finish. I have some problems with my ADD and autism and Asperger's. So my parents got me a therapist to help overcome some of the problems I have. It's not serious, I just don't act normal in public situations. While I waited in my brother to finish up in his rotation of seeing our therapist, when the EP and their kid walk inside. The kid looks at me and I give a subtle wave and a small smile before I continued playing my game. At first it was calm. I was having a grand old time playing Mega Man Zero 2. Great game, I recommend the entire Zero series to everyone. Then the kid sits down next to me. I take no mind to it and just keep playing. In fact, I enjoyed the spectator sitting next to me. Suddenly he says, "Hey, can I play?" This is where the gates of hell open. EP, entitled parent, EB, entitled brat, me as well, me. Give me a sec, the boss room is just ahead, then I'll give you a turn. EB gives me this pulty face and looks mad. EB, I want it now! Me, hey, calm down, I'm almost finished, just be patient. EB gets up and goes over to his mum. She looks at me back at EB. I could tell she said something to the kid along the lines of, you want that? Okay, Mummy will get you that food. Mummy will get that for you. I was a bit perturbed, whatever that is. I sat up straight in my chair and acted like I didn't notice. I looked back down at my DS. Suddenly, EP appears before me. Me, can I help you, ma'am? My son wanted to play your game. Why can't he play your game? Me, no, I didn't say he can't. I said the opposite. I was going to interrupt it. EP, I don't care about that. Just give my son the game. He's been very good in school and deserves a reward. That's common. I don't know why. I thought it was a joke, but she was obviously dead serious. At this point, I'm getting anxious. I wasn't in a situation like this before, and I honestly felt threatened. I was hoping my brother would just come and save me. Me, no, it's my DS. I can choose what to do with it. Please go away. I closed it and clutched it close to my chest. EP, give it to my son now. You don't deserve it, you selfish retard. She gets physical, grabbing at my hands, try to pry at my prized possession. She gets hold of my little Mega Man wrist strap. I put it on and yanks it out of my hands. She hands it to her little greedy clutch, her son's little greedy clutches. EP, my son deserves it more than you. Besides, you're autistic, so you don't need it. She walks back to her seat with her son. I try to take impeccable care of my DS, so it will follow me far into the future. Her son starts scratching up its golden metal case, chewing up the end of the stylus, physically jabbing her fingers onto the touchscreen and damaging it permanently. Even ejected out the game while it was still running. That can destroy the cartridge. I'm at my boiling point. In fact, beyond it. I was already put into overdrive emotionally because of how I lost my DS, but that last remark, that little jab at my quote-unquote defect, pushed me over my edge. I jolted up from my seat and strided over to her, visibly angry. Me, give me back my DS. My father gave that to me and it belongs to me. EP looks at me in shock and her son does the same. He was clutching the cartridge and scratching the cover art. EP, no, my son deserves it. He got good grades in school. You're just an autistic kid who got this for free from his parents. My son worked hard and he deserves a reward. Me, woman, I don't give a damn about his grades or high school life. Or his school life. You stole my DS and I want it back. Right now. EB starts to cry. And EP capitalizes on this. EP, get away from my son and his game, you thief. I went in without hesitation to take back what is mine. EB starts wailing on me with his kicks and punches while trying to hold on to my DS. He even broke my glasses. Just as I got my grip onto the DS, he screamed and kicked me square in the nads and had to let go. The kid was laughing at me and I was on the ground in fucking agony. My big brother finished up with our therapist and saw me trying to take my DS back. EP was yelling at me and was trying to turn my brother against me. He saw this kid with my DS in game. He knew what my DS looked like and it clicked like almost instantly. My brother yelled at the kid to give it back. That brat refused. He manhandled it, he manhandled that gremlin's grasp and saved my DS. But this kid wanted to take his shit show as stepfather. The game was missing. My brother asked where it is and the kid didn't say anything. Just shook his head with his mouth closed. This utter bitch stuck the cartridge in his mouth. My brother demanded he give it back. He kept saying no with his mouth closed and suddenly started to choke. Turns out he was trying to swallow it and it plugged up his airway. My brother did the Heimlich maneuver and the kid hacked up the cartridge. I shambled over to it and clutched it in relief and terror because I didn't know if it was broken for good. Bro helped me up after giving the crotch goblin back to his mother, whom grabbed their hellspawn and ran out of the building before we could call the cops on her. We left without me seeing the therapist, as I was too fucked up to say anything to confront her at the time. And I assumed my damaged DS had to be replaced. It was wrecked to hell and back. Cracked and scratched screen, broken touchscreen and chewed up stylus, with a bonus critical failure that bricked it. When I tried to turn it on, I also got a ton of bruises from the kid fighting back. Had to get my glasses replaced. Cartridge was usable, but brat bitch McGee deleted my data before shoving it in his mouth. I never saw those creatures again. I still play that copy, Mega Man Zero Collection. By the way, still trying to get all my unlocks back, and going on 2 years of recovering that lost progress. On a happier note, my dad replaced my DS and got me a copy of Metroid Samus Returns. I learned a couple of things from him about self-defense, so that may never happen again. He's a retired US Army paratrooper, total badass in my life. Hero. But hey, out of all that, at least I got a cool story to tell my friends, and a new game. Thanks, Dad. You're the best. Well, that was a long one. Mothers like this who just assume that when they take something off someone because their kid has good grades and they deserve it more than the original person, those people don't deserve to be on God's earth. When the entitled parent mentioned you're just autistic, you don't deserve it, my son had good grades and that he needs it more than you, that's just what the fuck? How could you raise a kid to be like that? How could you? That's just wrong in my books. I'm surprised the Child Protection Agency, the Child Services weren't called and all that shit. That's just despicable, man. Get a fucking life. And that's the end of this episode. I hope you boys and girls enjoyed. If you did enjoy, leave a like, leave a comment what you thought. If you like this, tell me what subreddit I should do next. Continue with this maybe go to a different subreddit. Who knows? But thanks guys for watching. Click subscribe, turn on that bell notification to get notified of new uploads. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys.